Microsoft/Activision Blizzard xCloud streaming rights merger inquiry. The CMA is investigating the anticipated acquisition by Microsoft Corporation of Activision Blizzard Incorporated, excluding Activision Blizzard Incorporate's non-EEA cloud streaming rights. Published on 22nd of August 2023. Deadline is 18th of October 2023 for the Phase 1 decision, and we have until 1st September to comment on this. Invitation to comment closes on Friday, 1st September. Microsoft Corporation, Microsoft and Activision Blizzard Incorporated have notified to the Competition and Markets Authority CMA an acquisition by which Microsoft will acquire Activision, excluding Activision's cloud streaming rights outside of the European Economic Area, EEA. As part of the proposed acquisition, Activision's global cloud streaming rights, excluding the EEA, for all current and future Activision PC and console games released during the next 15 years, will be divested to Ubisoft Entertainment SA, Ubisoft. The divestment will take place immediately before completion of Microsoft's acquisition of Activision. Ubisoft will also receive a non-exclusive license for Activision's EEA cloud gaming rights to enable it to stream and sub-license streaming of Activision games in that region. At the same time, Microsoft will receive a non-exclusive license from Ubisoft for cloud streaming rights to the extent necessary for Microsoft to fulfill its obligations under its commitments to the European Commission and certain existing third-party cloud streaming agreements. The terms of the transaction will allow Ubisoft to commercialize these rights to other cloud gaming service providers, including to Microsoft itself. Ubisoft will compensate Microsoft for the cloud streaming rights to Activision's games through a one-off payment and through a market-based wholesale pricing mechanism, including an option that supports pricing based on usage. Ubisoft will have the right to license out the cloud streaming rights to Activision's games under any business model of its choosing, including buy-to-play, multi-game subscription services, or any other model that may arise. Ubisoft will also be able, for a fee, to require Microsoft to adapt Activision's titles to operating systems other than Windows, such as Linux. If it decides to use or license out the cloud streaming rights to Activision's titles to a cloud gaming service that runs a non-Windows operating system. This is huge. This is really huge. Could this mean we potentially get Mac versions of games? I doubt it, but anything could happen. The CMA has previously investigated the anticipated acquisition by Microsoft of the entirety of Activision, concluding in its final report issued on 26 April 2023 that the creation of that relevant merger situation may be expected to result in a substantial lessening of competition SLC in the supply of cloud gaming services in the UK, and that prohibition of that transaction was an effective and proportionate remedy to address that SLC and any resulting adverse effects. On 22nd of August 2023, the CMA imposed a final order that prohibits Microsoft from acquiring an interest in Activision unless it obtains prior written consent to do so from the CMA. The CMA is considering whether it is or may be the case that this merger, if carried into effect, will result in the creation of a relevant merger situation under the merger provisions of the Enterprise Act 2002, and if so, whether the creation of that situation may be expected to result in an SLC within any market or markets in the United Kingdom for goods or services. The CMA therefore invites comments from any interested party on the impact of that the newly structured merger could have on competition in the UK, in light of the substantial overlap with the matters considered in the final report on 26 April 2023 and the matters at issue. In this investigation, the CMA currently expects to rely heavily on the evidence and analysis undertaken for the purposes of that report in this investigation. These comments should be provided by the deadline set out above to microsoft.activision.p1@cma.gov.uk. Your name and contact details are your personal data. In collecting, receiving, storing, and accessing and using your personal data, the CMA as a controller is processing your personal data. The CMA processes personal data in accordance with data protection law. The CMA is processing your personal data so that it can contact you again should it need further help or information from you in order to carry out its merger work under Part 3 of the Enterprise Act 2002. For more information about how the CMA processes personal data and your rights relating to that data, please see our privacy notice. So now we want to have a look at this is the notification. Anticipated acquisition by Microsoft Corporation of Activision Blizzard Incorporated, excluding Activision Blizzard Incorporated's non-EEA cloud streaming rights. Notice under Section 96 2A of the Enterprise Act 2002, the Act published pursuant to Section 107(7)(1) of the Act. The Competition Markets Authority CMA hereby gives notice pursuant to Section 96 2A of the Act that the merger notice provided by Microsoft Corporation and Activision Blizzard Incorporated in relation to the proposed acquisition by Microsoft Corporation of Activision Blizzard Incorporated, excluding Activision Blizzard Incorporated's non-EEA cloud streaming rights. The merger meets the requirements of Section 96(2) of the Act. The initial period defined in Section 34ZA(3) of the Act in relation to the merger will therefore commence on the first working day after the date of this notice, i.e. on 23rd August 2023. The deadline for the CMA to announce its decision whether to refer the merger for a Phase 2 investigation is therefore 18th October 2023. Press release. Let's have a look at this. Microsoft submits new deal for review after CMA confirms original deal is blocked. The CMA has opened a new Phase 1 investigation into a new restructured deal by Microsoft to buy Activision. The CMA finalizes decision to block original merger after rejecting submissions by Microsoft to revisit its original decision. Microsoft submits new restructured deal for review, triggering a fresh Phase 1 investigation by the CMA. Under the new deal, Microsoft will not acquire the cloud streaming rights to all current and future Activision games released during the next 15 years, excluding in the EEA. The new deal follows confirmation by the CMA, Competition and Markets Authority, that the original deal would be blocked to protect innovation and choice in cloud gaming. In an unusual step, Microsoft had sought to revisit the CMA's original prohibition decision, arguing that blocking the original deal was no longer appropriate in light of developments since the CMA issued its final report in April, including the acceptance of binding commitments by the European Commission and a licensing deal agreed between Sony and Microsoft. The independent group which took the original decision reviewed these submissions and decided that they did not provide any basis for a change to the original prohibition decision. To give final legal effect to that decision, the CMA has today imposed a final order which prohibits the original deal on a worldwide basis. Separately, Microsoft and Activision have agreed a new restructured deal, which has been submitted to the CMA to review in a new investigation. This new investigation will be carried out in line with the CMA's usual Phase 1 processes, and the statutory deadline for the decision is 18th October 2023. Under the restructured deal, Microsoft will not acquire cloud rights for existing Activision PC and console games or for new games released by Activision during the next 15 years. This excludes the European Economic Area. Instead, these rights will be divested to Ubisoft Entertainment SA, Ubisoft, prior to Microsoft's acquisition of Activision. Microsoft has stated that the restructured deal is intended to address the concerns set out in the CMA's final report in April. In particular, this transaction is intended to provide an independent third-party content supplier, Ubisoft, with the ability to supply Activision's gaming content to all cloud gaming service providers, including to Microsoft itself. Ubisoft will be able to license out Activision's content under different business models, including subscription services. The deal also proposes that Ubisoft would have the ability to require Microsoft to provide versions of games on operating systems other than Windows. This is really important. This is something I highlighted to the CMA in my email regarding the Microsoft submission, which I said, I was very much against the claims that Microsoft was making in that submission, and I refuted a lot of the claims. And this was one of my primary points: was we need to have the ability for Microsoft to provide versions of games to other operating systems like Linux and Mac. It's really important, because these other operating systems, Microsoft already has a monopoly in the operating system department when it comes to PCs. So it's really, really important to me. So continuing on, Sarah Cardell, Chief Executive of the CMA, said, "The CMA has today confirmed that Microsoft's acquisition of Activision as originally proposed cannot proceed. Separately, Microsoft has notified a new and restructured deal, which is substantially different from what was put on the table previously. As part of this new deal, Activision's cloud streaming rights outside of the EEA will be sold to a rival, Ubisoft, who will be able to license out Activision's content to any cloud gaming provider. This will allow gamers to access Activision's games in different ways, including through cloud-based multi-game subscription services. We will now consider this deal under a new Phase 1 investigation. This is not a green light. We will carefully and objectively assess the details of the restructured deal and its impact on competition, including in light of third-party comments. Our goal has not changed. Any future decision on this new deal will ensure that the growing cloud gaming market continues to benefit from open and effective competition, driving innovation and choice. The CMA is inviting comments from any interested party on the impact that the newly structured merger could have on competition in the UK. More information on the restructured transaction, the new Phase 1 investigation, and how to submit comments is available on the Microsoft Activision Blizzard X Cloud Streaming Rights Merger Inquiry." Notes to editors: prior to the new deal being submitted, Microsoft made submissions that the final order to block the original merger should not be imposed. Microsoft argued that for various reasons there had been a material change of circumstances since the original decision. After careful consideration, this was rejected by the independent inquiry group. More information on the original deal that the CMA reviewed is available on this case page. Ubisoft will compensate Microsoft for the cloud streaming rights to Activision's games through a one-off payment and through a market-based wholesale pricing mechanism, including an option that supports pricing based on usage. The terms of the transaction will allow Ubisoft to commercialize these rights to any other cloud gaming service provider, including to Microsoft itself. Ubisoft will have the ability to license out to third parties the cloud streaming rights to Activision's games under any business model of its choosing, including buy-to-play, multi-game subscription services, or any other model that may arise. Ubisoft will also be able, for a fee, to require Microsoft to adapt Activision's titles to operating systems other than Windows, such as Linux. If it decides to use or license out the cloud streaming rights to Activision's titles to a cloud gaming service that runs a non-Windows operating system. All media inquiries should be directed to the CMA press office by email on press@cma.gov.uk or by phone on 0208 0203 738 6460. So there we have it, ladies and gents. That is the press release. Let's have a look at the new deal merger inquiry. The CMA is investigating this. So where can I read the new deal? That's what I want to know. Where can I read the Microsoft submission? I'm not sure where I can go to read that. Let's look. This is the merger inquiry, but we don't actually know. We don't actually see anything from Microsoft here. So this is actually huge news. I can also show my email to the CMA. I will be showing that in another video, just so I can show my points that I made regarding the Microsoft submission that was here. So thanks for watching or listening. Hope you found this enlightening and informative. And please subscribe if you found it useful. It will help me out. I'll be doing a lot of videos on the Microsoft and CMA inquiry and videos on cloud gaming in general. I have a big interest in cloud gaming, and I'm very happy that Ubisoft is going to be the ones to take the service. Let's have a look at the news. How do I check the news? So it's really huge in the news. It's going to be a big topic, obviously. And we can also look at the Ubisoft. Okay. This is absolutely huge. Hey, there's a Phoenix Rising 2. That's nice. I would really like to play this. I was a huge fan of the original Phoenix Rising. Oh, it's got cancelled. That's a real shame. That's a huge shame. This is such a nice game. It's really nice visuals. That's a real shame. Okay. So I guess it was too ambitious, maybe? I would love to play the demo. Anyway, let's read through this. Ubisoft announcement. Okay, this is huge. The Ubisoft Plus lineup is expanding. We're excited to announce a new agreement that will bring Activision Blizzard games to Ubisoft via streaming upon the completion of Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. So it'll come to Ubisoft Plus. Okay. We'll also be licensing the games to a range of cloud streaming and subscription services. Learn more. So this is huge. Retweet, repost, because it's not called Twitter anymore. That's pretty funny. They can't say re-X, they can't say retweet, so they put repost. Okay, let's read more. Activision Blizzard games coming to Ubisoft Plus. Yes, you read that headline right. Ubisoft today announced the signing of an agreement which will give Ubisoft cloud streaming rights to games like Call of Duty and more, coming into effect upon the completion of Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. The agreement includes the complete slate of current Activision Blizzard games, as well as all of their new titles launching in the 15 years after the closing of Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. The games will land on Ubisoft Plus, while also allowing Ubisoft to license them to cloud gaming companies, service providers, and console makers. With a single subscription to Ubisoft Plus multi-access, players will soon be able to play their favorite Ubisoft and Activision Blizzard games across multiple platforms, including PC, Xbox consoles, and Amazon Luna. This is great because I have an Amazon Luna subscription myself. And on the PlayStation platform through Ubisoft Classics. That's good as well because I have a PS Plus Premium, so I have the cloud streaming as well that I really want to try. The agreement will offer players even greater access to a large library of beloved and classic titles, as well as newest releases, all through cloud streaming. Cloud gaming allows a wide range of content to be accessed on a multitude of devices, giving players even more ways to play on a broader range of hardware with fewer barriers. We're dedicated to delivering amazing experiences to our players wherever they choose to play, said Chris Early, Senior Vice President, Strategic Partnerships and Business Development, Ubisoft. Over the past 15 years, we've built and honed our online services and distribution ecosystem into one of the most complete in the industry. Today's deal gives players even more opportunities to access and enjoy some of the biggest brands in gaming. Ubisoft will announce more about how and when Activision Blizzard titles will be added to Ubisoft Plus and other cloud gaming platforms in the future. In the meantime, discover what's available with Ubisoft Plus and stay tuned to the Ubisoft News homepage for news and updates. So one of my concerns with this is Ubisoft Plus is quite expensive. I wouldn't really want to subscribe to it to be able to play these games, especially not to play free games like Overwatch 2. It wouldn't really seem fair to have to subscribe to a quite pricey subscription tier. It's something like £13, I think. I can't remember how much exactly it costs, But you do get all of these games. Wow, $17.99. That is crazy. Just for these, which they're good games, but I wouldn't say it's worth it just for these $18 per month. And then in addition, you'll have the Activision Blizzard games. I don't know if I would pay for this, but I don't see them limiting games like Overwatch just to this. It would be really strange if they did. I think they will license out the games to like Amazon Luna and GeForce Now, and Boosteroid I'm sure will continue to get the games, and PlayStation Plus Premium cloud streaming, I'm sure it will. So I do hope the CMA accepts this new proposal and a new deal. I think it would be good. I think it allows millions of more gamers to potentially be able to access the games. And I think it's a good thing overall. It enhances accessibility of gaming to a wider audience, which is good for Overwatch in the long run as well. Overwatch is probably my favorite game right now, and it's a live service game, so it's very important that it reaches a very wide audience. So yeah, I'm very happy about that. Yeah. So I'll be doing more content like this in the future. Microsoft just submitted a restructured version of its deal with Activision to CMA. The deal is unusual. It grants Ubisoft cloud distribution rights to Activision games, so Microsoft can stream Call of Duty on Game Pass. But if it does, it needs to pay Ubisoft. And it should be a one-off fee, I think, is what they're saying. Breaking news, Microsoft plans to sell off Activision Blizzard cloud gaming rights to Ubisoft in a bid for UK approval of its $68.7 billion deal. This is a big restructuring of the acquisition. Full details here. So this is really huge. We knew that behavioral changes wouldn't really be accepted by the CMA, but this is a restructured deal. It's a structural change, so I think it very much has a chance of the CMA accepting this. So I wonder how much Ubisoft is actually paying Microsoft for this. Because Ubisoft isn't that big of a company, like in the grand scheme of things. They don't have that much money. So how much would they have paid? I imagine it's a lot, like millions of dollars, but I can't say for sure. Because the whole cloud gaming industry in the future will be worth billions of dollars. Right now it's worth millions, but it will be a very huge industry, obviously. And Activision Blizzard games will be an important part of that. And this is huge because it means potentially Linux ports of games. So I need to have a look again and see how much this costs. How much does Ubisoft Plus cost? £13. Yeah. Yeah, that is probably too much for me. Multi-access membership is £15 per month. And the funny thing is, I actually have Game Pass Ultimate until 2024, December. But I will still benefit from that because of the Microsoft games. I won't be able to get those as well. So what's the difference between Ubisoft Connect and PC Access? I think I need this one, the multi-access. That would give me the cloud gaming part, I'm imagining. So yeah, this is just for the PC bit. And then multi-access would be for including the cloud, Luna and Xbox. That's the difference. So, a bit too expensive for me. I wouldn't probably subscribe to this, but I would very much hope we get Overwatch on GeForce Now, finally. Would be amazing. That would make me very happy. So, thank you for watching. Subscribe, comment, like, and stay tuned.